because I did research for grad school on why people teach, why people coach. And so it's always been something that's been super interesting to me. Sure. And so with that, I was like, podcast. And then Gabe wanted us to do more reach out for content for LinkedIn, just get our names out there so people see that we're more than just sales guys. Sure. That we're actually like human beings and whatnot. Right. And so I was like, let's do something that adds value. Sure. So if somebody wants to listen to it during their work day, whatnot, they could listen to this, or on their way to work, something just maybe a little bit more interesting than the radio. So that was my goal with this. Right. But I love doing research into why teachers go into their profession, why teachers follow their parents in their career field. Because there's so many teachers out there, because their parent was a teacher, they went into the profession as well. So, sure. Yeah, it was super interesting. But, you know, obviously we're here to talk about you and your company and whatnot. I also want to get a background for you and everything like that. Yeah. Where are you from? Like, I know, like, we currently live here in West Fargo.
Right. Yeah, we've been here in the Fargo area for about 5 years now, but I grew up in Eden Prairie originally. Went to high school there and really lived in Minnesota my entire life. I went to school at Minnesota State University down in Mankato and got into the insurance industry. It's funny you mentioned following your parents in their footsteps. That my dad was in the insurance industry, and that's where I wound up eventually as well. Was in the insurance business really up until just a few months ago, and bounced around the country a little bit. Lived out in New Jersey for a couple years before finding an opportunity in insurance here in the Fargo community, and we've been here about 5 years now. And just love the area, and got sick of bouncing around the country, and decided to put down roots and wanted to stay here. So yeah, built a house in West Fargo a couple years ago and love the area. So.
Gotcha. What were you doing in New Jersey?
Insurance. Okay. I was a sales manager for one of the larger insurance companies. They were expanding on the East Coast. There was a lot of opportunity out there at the time, and it was exciting and new and different, but it didn't take us long to realize we're Midwesterners at heart, and it was hard being that far away from family, and our kids were young and growing up, and wanted to keep them close to their cousins and grandma and grandpas, so jumped at an opportunity to do the same thing essentially, but to be a sales manager for the state of North Dakota, and did that for a couple years before deciding that it wasn't going to work. Staying with that company would require continuing to uproot and bounce around.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Wasn't in the cards. So yeah,
there you go. Awesome. So you moved back to Fargo, but Xtra X, your company, that was started how long ago?
So ironically, it was kind of at the point where I transitioned from that I had been with a company for about 18 years. Oh, wow. Actually, and that's really when the idea for Xtra came to me and hit me. Was at that point where I had to decide, do I want to pick up and move the family to another part of the country, and it just kind of reinforced the fact that it felt like I was being pulled in a direction or called to do something and told to pursue another opportunity. That in part was what inspired Xtra Apparel. Was when the idea came to me, and the fact that I was kind of up in the air career-wise and what direction I was going to head and what I was going to do next. So I decided to step away from that company. I found another opportunity. It was still in insurance. I just wasn't ready yet to fully, and I'm still not, to be completely honest, ready to just step away from a regular 9 to 5 and pursue Xtra full time. So I actually joined a local bank overseeing the insurance and investments departments at that bank, and was doing Xtra Apparel on the side, and have been, and actually did that for the past 3 years or so, up until really the start of this year is when I, left the bank and still have a regular 9 to 5 in sales, but am slowly focusing more and more time and energy on Xtra Apparel. So.
Where did the idea for Xtra Apparel come from?
So this, going back to, I was with the insurance company that I'd been with throughout my entire career. An agent that I worked for invited me to join him in his networking group. And I was still, pretty new to the area, jumped at an opportunity to get my name out there, meet some new people, that kind of thing. So I went to this networking event with Brian McLean. Brian asked, during this networking event, each person gets a chance to stand up and kind of make their ask and tell how the group can help them out, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
He shared with the group that he had a table for a local fundraising event that Friday night. And he had a couple spots available at that table. He was looking to fill a couple seats. So after the networking group, he asked if my wife and I would be interested. And it was on a Friday night. My wife and I had miraculously finally found a babysitter to take care of the kids, had plans to do a date on that Friday night anyways. So I decided, what the heck, yeah, let's go check this gala out. And at the time, I had no idea what Gigi's Playhouse was, but it was a fundraiser for Gigi's Playhouse. So I Googled and looked them up and was shocked to find out they are an organization. They're centers of excellence for individuals with Down syndrome.
Okay.
Achievement centers, essentially.
Okay.
They provide therapy services and, all kinds of great things. I didn't know this at the time, but he also didn't know I have a younger brother, Brett, who was born with Down syndrome. So I, just serendipitously, I'm at this event on a Friday night learning about this organization, and that event really was when the idea hit me, because there was a portion while we're eating dinner, they had a video about Gigi herself. So Gigi was the inspiration for Gigi's Playhouse. Gigi's mother, Nancy Gianni, is who started Gigi's Playhouse. Gigi's kind of playing a role in this video where she's going to attend a gala, and her sister is showing her, do you want to wear this dress or do you want to wear this dress? And she's like, no, I don't like that dress, not that one. Going through like 5 or 6 options of dresses to wear. And that moment really was when the idea came to me, because I was reminded of my brother and how difficult it was, really from adolescence and beyond, for him to find pants or clothes that fit appropriately. And my mom complained on several occasions back to school shopping for him, like, I can't find clothes for this kid, and just being so frustrated. So, if my brother were to attend a gala, he's got one option, he's got,
for sure,
suit that fits, and that's that. So, the idea really came to me at that point, and then from there I just, started taking things more and more seriously. And then as things within, my career, kind of everything up in the air, just started, taking it more seriously. And like I said, it feeling more like a calling, and researching it. And, is there a need for this? And, is it something worth pursuing? Are there options out there? Am I just making this up in my head, and all that? And, the idea for the logo and the name for the company came to me, and, I just felt like it was a brand, and something that is worth pursuing. So.
Gotcha. You mentioned your brother has Down syndrome as well. And you said it was hard finding the clothing and whatnot. What are some other like stories or things you'd be willing to share of reasons why Xtra X came, why it hit you so hard that night?
Well, I mean, that really was it. Was just the struggle and being reminded of my mom, having the difficulties finding clothes that fit him. What she essentially had to do was go out and find pants that were the right waist size. And luckily, in her case, she's good with a sewing machine, and maybe she learned it because of my brother. She would cut 6 inches off the pants, rehem them, and there you go. so that worked in her case, but to think that that problem is universal. It's not unique to my brother, and an entire community is either having to have their parents or someone close to them do that, or else take their clothes to be altered and pay additional money, and more expense to have that done, just didn't seem right, and was kind of frustrating as well. So, early on I searched and started Googling and trying to figure out, is this really a need? And one of the first articles that I came across, the title of it was 20 companies or brands that work for people with Down syndrome. And so that took the wind out of my sails right away, like reading that.
Yeah.
Well, if there are 20 options, like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
So I read the article, and, after reading and getting through the article, I was going into the comment section about to comment when I saw the very first comment had a couple likes, and people, reiterating this fact that, the person pointed out in the comments, if you remove leggings, jeggings, or tights, there's really 3 or 4 options, and if you're a male, you're down to 1. So that reinforced to me that, throughout the Down syndrome community, this is something people are struggling with and frustrated by. So,
Gotcha.
And since that time, the one option mentioned in that article actually closed their doors during COVID.
Okay.
So, that was unfortunate, to hear that and learn about that as well. So, on the flip side, something that I was excited to learn about. So a while back, through networks and people introducing me to people, I met Sarah Sunderland. So she is in the apparel and textile department at NDSU.
Okay.
She invited and asked me to speak to her class, to share a little bit about Xtra, and they wound up doing a project which was awesome, kind of creative boards and fabric ideas and styles and whatnot. A student in the class shared with me an article about the University of Delaware in 2019, which wasn't long before I was in front of the class speaking with them. They brought thousands of people with Down syndrome in and started taking their measurements in hopes of creating a size guide unique to the Down syndrome community. So kind of like how, there's a size guide for big and tall size clothing, or petite size clothing, has its own kind of blueprint for companies to start with and go off of. So that's in the works. I haven't gotten an update or been able, but I got in touch with Dr. Martha Hall, who did the study and everything. So that gave me, a breath of fresh air and some hope that, okay, the industry recognizes the need, and there are people out there, working towards that and trying to fix it. So, fingers crossed. Hopefully, we'll be there soon. So.
Gotcha. What has it been like? Obviously, the last 2.5 years have been COVID years. You started right in the midst of that, so obviously that's been something.
Well, I started actually before that. It's been about 3.5 or 4 years now since I started. So, I guess COVID in some ways was a kick in the butt for me, I guess, to get going and continue with things. One of the advantages, I've never had a retail location or relied on shoppers or people coming into a store. It also, COVID happening has really caused me to reanalyze, do I ever want to pursue that, or have stores of my own and locations of my own, just because of the overhead and the costs and everything that go along with that. But, I knew that COVID was going to cause a lot of disruption throughout the industry and pose a lot of challenges, which it has. But, for a company and someone where I'm at in the stage, I see that as opportunity. Let's go and time to pick things up and get rolling. So,
well, obviously, like, shopping has been insane over the last 2.5 years, like online shopping. Have you noticed that being a positive for you? Because it is like a consumer good that you can go out and purchase. Has that been good for your business?
It helps. Yeah, absolutely. The more that people are online and shopping and getting comfortable with that, it certainly bodes well for, an e-commerce company like Xtra that, is relying on that method. I'm looking a lot at, or I've been reading a lot lately about some of the challenges that poses though as well when it comes to returns and there's still that's one of the things that's difficult when it comes to clothing is you still want that ability to feel the fabric and to try something on to make sure it fits you right and that you're not just turning around sending something back or that it's not what you expect, it doesn't feel right, that kind of thing. And that's something that's important to Xtra too, is the feel of fabric and the way things fit. So I'm still kind of back and forth about, do I see myself having actual locations in stores someday? Because on the one hand, I think it'd be really cool to, have a store in a brick and mortar place someone can walk in and, try something out and walk out of the store wearing what they just bought, that kind of thing.
Like a flagship store since you live here in Fargo.
Right.
Are you currently... How does your operation look right now? Are you out of your garage or basement? Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. I got boxes stacked upon boxes in the garage right now. My heat press out there, so it's working for the time being. But I don't know how long we're gonna be able to continue operating in that fashion.
Gotcha.
I think my wife and I might disagree on how long that's feasible as well. But
gotcha. So it's a whole family operation.
Yeah. I've brought the kids into the business too, and asked them to help out. Whether it's cutting, logos out or stickers. My son was at an event recently, just a couple weekends ago, running items back and forth between my wife and I so I could press them. Yeah, so
awesome.
It's a family affair, definitely, and they've been, on board and excited about everything as well, which has been great.
So you're doing, I know before we started here, you were talking about the different types of clothing that you're currently making. So what are the different types that you currently have available?
So on our website, pretty much everything that's on the website, we focus more on kind of fitness and athletic apparel. And part of that is an area that I'd like to stick to for the time being, in part because, things like shorts, tights, t-shirts, tank tops, those don't really cause an issue for people with Down syndrome. So it fits better, across the broad spectrum of, and the population at large. So, several of the items on our website are wholesale items. Essentially, what that means is I'm not creating or designing those items. They are, created at a manufacturer and essentially don't have a logo on them, and allow any and everyone to brand them as their own, and send those out. That being said, I have worked with a manufacturer to create our endurance line, which is on the men's side we have joggers, t-shirts, and shorts, and then on the women's we have tights, a tank top, and shorts as well. So the endurance line, those are, that's kind of my baby, and what we have created as our own. I'm hoping to expand upon that, and in fact very soon here we'll have some additional color options of those items, and just want to round out the catalog and include more items and slowly build and grow and go.
So I know we talked about a few other styles, expanding off of athletic wear. What would be like the first style of clothing you'd shoot for after that?
So I like the idea of kind of going down the road of golf or athleisure, kind of polyester, stretchy, similar to the joggers, but
Sound like a polo style. You can use it for multiple
t-shirt,
occasions.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because that too is something you can wear to the office. You can wear every day, or in the comfort of your own home. Lounging around. It works for that as well. And just golf is fun and something a lot of people are into and involved with. So, and in fact, my brother is over the years has been involved with Special Olympics as well, and so golfing I hope to and haven't yet, but want to compete with my brother and golf in the Special Olympics one of these summers. So
yeah, so talking about athletic events, that's where we met, Able Games.
Yeah.
Here in West Fargo 2 weeks ago now.
Right. Still sore, but
yeah, I couldn't move for like 4 or 5 days afterwards.
It was rough.
Yeah. My partner was far worse than me because I was only there one day. But what was it like being able to compete with your brother in that event?
It's fun. I just love any time I get to spend with my brother. But, at the Able Games, seeing him compete and give his all and have fun through the exercises and the movements and everything that we were doing is a lot of fun. So, it's just a great event and feeding off the crowd and seeing everyone on the floor competing and having fun and, playing to the crowd and getting everyone pumped up and excited. I mean, it's just a really cool event and fun thing to be a part of. So.
Well, you were there for more than I was, but would you want to share with everyone what, if we have any listeners, what the Able Games is and kind of what their mission is?
Yeah, so the Able Games, the entire concept is including, it's an inclusive CrossFit competition. So on the competition floor, you have, peoples of varying abilities all competing at the same time and simultaneously. So, people participating have the ability to select what experience level they're at, and how grueling of a workout they're willing to put themselves through.
Yeah.
So I was sore for a week and I went pretty novice. I'm not someone who is, competing in CrossFit regularly, but 2 lanes over is someone who is competing at a very high level, and is throwing weight around that, is impressive. So, it's just awesome to see that environment, and for people like my brother to be able to partake and be a part of that and, to see that is really a fun time, and just a great event. So
yeah, no,
and it is, I should mention too, it's a fundraiser for and kind of organized by TNT, and that really is a big part of their mission as well, is promoting healthy lifestyles and movement for people of all abilities. So to see the community support and everyone come out and get behind that is awesome as well. And I know, Connor McGovern, who's a Fargo native, is a big part of helping, promote and getting the CrossFit community involved and people attending. That was cool to see. I got some cool pictures of him helping my brother.
Oh, that's so cool.
Through the first event. So,
yeah,
he was motivating him and helping him get going. So that was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. He looked like he was having a blast there. Him and Sam Dancer and Matt Fraser were all there, and a bunch of really cool CrossFit guys, and cool to have multiple different realms of fitness there.
Right.
You mentioned Special Olympics. I know when I grew up, my track team every year, we would go to Valley City for Special Olympics track and field event. Are those types of events that you go to? I know I met you at your booth for Xtra. Now, is there different types of events like that you try to target for getting your name out there? Or
Sure. I haven't, been at actual Special Olympics events, in part because a lot of that has been closed due to COVID.
Okay, yeah.
So I would, definitely like to be involved and, try to participate, have a table or a booth available for, for those types of events as well. just because, the more I love, being able, just sharing stories, and getting to know people and that kind of thing. It goes a long ways when you're, in person and face to face with people and sharing the story and kind of telling everyone what we're trying to do and whatnot. So yeah, absolutely.
I know I've been involved in a lot of different activities in my life, and I know there's these like little small communities or niche communities, and it seems like people are very close. How is like the special needs community taken to your brand? Has the support been there?
It has, yeah. I mean, they've been outstanding. I've met several people, just through networks, and it's amazing, how tight knit the community is, and how closely everyone is, working together and helping each other out. I shared with you the story about Gigi's Playhouse. And, prior to the gala, I was not familiar with the organization, but since the gala, I've volunteered some time. I've joined a couple of the planning committees. They've been wonderful in opening their doors and allowing me to share my story at Gigi's Playhouse, meet some of the families and some of the people that participate there. So that's been great. And I'm actually the treasurer and volunteering on the board for Gigi's Playhouse currently. So that's been amazing. But, you learn about other organizations and other, whether it's companies or organizations involved with special needs. I've met with people at CCRI, and heard about really cool programs. We'll soon be on a call with the A-STEP program through Minot State University, which is all about helping find employment opportunities and furthering, secondary education for people with special needs and helping them get ready for and finding a career and all that. So yeah, just really cool, and that's something too, just through social media, because that's something, early on and throughout the business of Xtra Apparel, just hearing about some of the other companies and organizations and some of the people and individuals that own their own businesses, and how tightly knit those people are, has been really cool to see as well. So yeah, the feedback and everything I've gotten has always been very positive, and reinforcing, yes, there's a need,
for sure,
thank you for what you're doing, keep going, that kind of thing. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
In terms of like you're a sales guy, what have you taken from your previous career or previous jobs in sales and other fields? How you kind of brought that into your current experience now, running a business on your own, starting a business during COVID, but also having a really strong passion for this new. I'm sure you might be like the greatest salesperson of all time. I don't know you that well, but
that's debatable.
There has to be an emotional connection to Xtra. How can you describe like the difference, but also what you're bringing in from your previous careers?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that why needs to be there in order to continue, pursuing things. There absolutely have been moments or times where you want to just, fold up and close up shop and be done. But, just being reminded of why, you got started, and, my mom, my brother, and everyone, and the support that I've received up to this point, keeps you motivated and keeps you going. As far as, things from my prior career, bringing in those and how they affect Xtra. I mean, one of the biggest things, and I've heard a lot of other people talk about, just the importance of consistency, and something I'm a big believer in too, or have repeatedly told myself, it's not the speed with which things happen, just so long as you continue making progress, and continue making the next step and moving forward. So,
what have those steps looked like for you so far in starting your own business? in terms of marketing, in terms of social media presence, in terms of networking.
Sure. So, like the timeline, or
No, going off of your you kind of going off the consistency.
Sure.
What have you like consistently worked on bettering yourself and trying to develop as you move forward with the company?
So, initially, it was just, the courage, I guess, to take that first step.
Mm-hmm.
And a willingness to jump in and, hey, whatever happens. At
Yeah,
least,
absolutely.
Put the effort in to get it started and get things going. So getting trademark, starting the LLC, starting the website, that there was a lot of time and energy and effort that just goes into those
Mm-hmm.
initial steps. But, from there, it was getting that presence on social media, reaching out to local, publications, local people to try to help spread the word, and get noticed, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak, and that's something that helped, a ton early on was, the forum, doing an article and sharing our story and our mission and what we're trying to do, really helped get more following,
Mm-hmm.
more people aware of that Xtra even exists
Yeah.
and what we're trying to do.
Do you guys have a social media presence?
Yeah, so Facebook and Instagram is really what I've stuck to
Okay.
at this point. Everyone's talking about TikTok, and I just haven't bit the bullet yet.
Well, my boss just hired a marketing hire, and he loves TikTok.
Sure.
He's definitely a young millennial, but he loves TikTok. I have not fully caught on board yet, but I'm with you on that one.
Sure.
But TikTok and Instagram seem like Facebook and Instagram seem like probably the way to go.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of it, I think, is what demographic are
Mm-hmm.
you after, and who are you trying to capture? And I was even hesitant with Instagram too. It helped a lot once Instagram and Facebook kind of
Merged together,
yeah. And then one post would show up in both places. Mm-hmm. But for a while, it was just more headache than it felt like it was worth.
Mm-hmm.
But now, it's easy, to share and post on both feeds. And that's kind of where I'm at with TikTok right now, too, to be honest. It's just hard thinking of what's good content and, what do I want to put out there and, have consistently in front of people. So that might be a good hire for myself as
Mm-hmm.
well, is finding someone in, that space that is an expert in social media.
Gotcha.
And marketing. So.
Are those your kids right now? Are they teaching you how to do all that, or
my kids
how old
are
are
still
your kids?
young enough. My son is 11.
Okay.
And our daughter's 6. So
Okay, so not quite yet.
Not to the point where they're able to teach me or coach me into it, but my son spends more time watching TikTok videos than I would like. But,
it happens.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I guess it's just been a matter of, taking one step further, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
And it just, I don't know how to explain it. I guess, I was on, I don't know if you're familiar with Startup Brew, but it's a emerging prairies here in the Fargo community. Will have people, kind of share their stories and start up companies, and I was just there about a week ago, and they only give you 6 minutes. That's why I like this podcast. I can ramble on.
Absolutely.
Here, but I wished in that 6 minutes to be able to kind of name drop or thank
Mm-hmm.
each and every person along the way, because it's just been a matter of asking for an introduction, sitting down and grabbing coffee with from Natalie Sparrow was one of the first people I sat and grabbed
Mm-hmm.
coffee with, and she introduced me to Sarah Sunderland at NDSU.
Yeah.
And that led to finding out about a study that was done and all these
Uh-huh.
and that, so that brings new life into things. Doing a podcast with Eric Roeder. Eric also in a prior life worked at Shields, so he had some
Okay.
connections and contacts, dropped the name and helped me be introduced to Shields, and that's what led to items being available in their stores. It's I don't know. It's just been crazy,
Uh-huh.
the events, and how just one more step, and another introduction to this person and that person
Mm-hmm.
keeps you, motivated and fuels the fire to keep going. So
Well, I know when I just walked up to your booth with a couple friends at the Able Games, and I knew that I was gonna start this. I wanted to have somebody meaningful to start with that had like a good reason, because I know several people that do different jobs and they love their job, but not truly like impactful, I would say, to themselves. Obviously they love their job.
Sure.
But you're starting a brand that could really help a large population of people that obviously doesn't have what it needs right now.
Right.
And you're kind of filling that gap, so that's very cool.
Sure.
I am fascinated that they have it. I'm fascinated by all the studies that are out there. I saw that in grad school, that there's so many of these random studies, but have they, at the University of Delaware study, have they done anything with that data so far to help brands produce something like this? I know that Nike has made shoes for people with cerebral palsy. And so that's obviously a step in the right direction, but I haven't seen anything since that came out.
Right. So I shortly after today, this again is that motivation to follow up with and find that out, because last conversation I had was right in the midst of COVID.
Okay.
Actually.
Yeah.
And so they had the data, they had done the study, taken all the measurements and everything, and it was at the point where the next step was, okay, with the data and with all of our measurements, let's analyze all the data so that we can create the size guide. So it hadn't been completed yet or finished yet, and things were still kind of up in the air, especially with COVID, and everything that was going on at the time. So
it would probably just take somebody who's passionate about actually getting it done
to figure it out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
Yep. So,
and if there's not brands out there that are focused on it, it's not the largest population of people they're probably selling to, but it is a significant portion. So,
right.
Especially for you, I think that'd be so cool once that's actually done.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, to have a size guide and something like that provided would be huge for the Down syndrome community. So, I know it's just, been reassuring and hopeful to see the fashion industry take more seriously the need, not only for the Down syndrome community, but like you mentioned, cerebral palsy, just adaptive clothing in general.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because I'm in the space more and more aware of it, but I've seen and noticed more companies take that seriously and start, looking at that and providing more options. I know Tommy Hilfiger has a line for adaptive clothing, with easy fasteners, so Velcro and
Gotcha.
things that are easier to put on and off. And I know Target, more so online, has more options for, adaptive clothing. It's still, a challenge. And, we're not at a place yet where there's actually a store, or a place, to go. And again, that's what I keep coming back to about, it would be cool to have a brick and mortar, a
For
location
sure.
for people.
But you said it, you have your clothing and Shields, and that's obviously a great first step.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm very grateful for their willingness to work with me and take a chance and, give us a place to start and a place just to, gain more awareness and have our clothing available. So
Well, yeah, obviously not a Shields ad by any means, but I used to work for them, and they definitely care about their customers. And so having something like this obviously shows that they care about the community, supporting other brands, supporting other businesses. So that's really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would agree 100%. I mean, I know I guess I've heard that, a portion of their store or floor is designated for local companies and local brands.
Mm-hmm.
So they are, very supportive of the local community and helping out. So
Gotcha. That's
it's
cool.
been a huge help, to Xtra and helping us get the name out there. And yeah.
Well, I know I said I wanted you till 5:30. I know you have a family to go home to and everything like
Sure.
that. Is there anything else you want to share about Xtra, kind of where you're going, where people can follow you guys at?
There is actually, and
Awesome.
I was kind of kicking myself out, going back to the startup brew about missing this, because one of the things I get asked a lot, and I probably need to do a better job in marketing and through our communications and everything. I get asked a lot, is your clothing specifically for people with Down syndrome or not? Or, it can't be right now because there isn't a size guide or something specific or unique for people with Down syndrome. So, what I'm trying to get across and help people understand, again, is that's part of the reason why fitness apparel is kind of a good space and where I plan to stay is, again, tights, shorts, most of the stuff that you work out in works for just about anyone. So our clothes really are for anyone that believe in our mission and what we're trying to do. So I would encourage, anyone and everyone wanting to support Xtra, get behind the brand and help us out. But something else in our mission, is not just creating clothing that fits people with Down syndrome, but that benefits people with Down syndrome.
Okay.
So every time an item is sold, we do donate $1 to a charity or organization involved with Down syndrome. But the stage that I'm at right now and what I'm working towards and have in mind is creating more opportunity for people with Down syndrome. So, if anything's proven harder for my brother to find than a pair of pants that fit him appropriately, it's been a career type job, or a job that
for sure.
is, providing enough for him to live independently, do his own thing, that kind of thing. So, one of the big aspirations or dreams of Xtra is to create more opportunity and in the way of jobs and that kind of thing. Eventually, I'd like to have sales consultants with a website of their own and the ability for them to earn commissions and earn money off of any sales that they generate themselves. So I'm kicking that around right now. I've had some conversations with, some families and people that are on board with helping us out. As an example, there is a family in Bismarck, the McMurdy's. They own the Gifted Bean. It's a coffee shop in the library in Bismarck. If you're ever there, stop by and grab some coffee from them. They've been really great, and supporters all along. But recently we did some sweatshirts to promote their coffee shop.
Okay.
So the Gifted Bean, is on their sweatshirts, and the whole idea being kind of mimicking or doing that for other businesses throughout the community with their son, Christian, who is born with Down syndrome. If he can line up the relationships and start the conversation between that business and Xtra, and we wind up doing some promotional items for that business, Christian would earn a commission and
that's so
make some
cool.
money off of
That's
that.
so cool.
So yeah, that's something I'm excited about, and have my fingers crossed on and hoping that all goes well there. So, and just to, pilot it, start with a couple, families and people that I know here locally or close by, and then, work out some of the kinks, figure things
for sure.
out, and then
I gotcha.
scale from there. So, but yeah, I'm still working on, I don't know whether, Christian will have his own website or how all that will work. I'm taking a break after the Able games. It was a crazy week or two, but I'm taking a breather.
That's good.
But yeah, we'll be ramping back up here, and that's kind of the next challenges and things I'm going to be working on and figuring out.
Do you have any events you're looking to attend as with a booth coming up in the future, or something you plan on doing more?
I don't actually have anything locked in or on the calendar as we speak. No. I have done the Island Park Show, in the past here in Fargo, and the West Fargo Street Fair a couple years back. So I may look at doing, some events like that.
Some good local stuff. Yeah, for sure.
So.
No, that's awesome. What's the name of your socials so people can go out and follow you, check out the website?
So Xtra Apparel, there's no E. So the X in Xtra is made to resemble a chromosome.
Yeah.
X chromosome being the cause of Down syndrome. That's what we went with for the logo. So it's just XTRA Apparel. You can find us Facebook. Same thing on Instagram, and then our website too is just xtraapparel.com.
Gotcha.
So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it was great having you on, Kyle.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, I let you get back to your family here. Thanks for coming on.
Good. Appreciate it. Thanks, Ty.
Awesome.